I'm Brandy Yates, and I'm here with Brett Dreyfus, the Meridian Township Clerk. The November general election is just around the corner on November 8th, and we want to make sure that you at home and all those voters have all the information they need for elections. Brett, thank you so much for joining me. There was some recent news in the presidential election, the presidential race, about voter fraud and voting for somebody twice.
Okay.
How do you guys?
It's almost complete. It's almost completely non-existent in all of recent election history over the last, let's say, 20 years. I'll just pick that number. There are, again, we have what? 50, 100 million people voting, and we have one or two examples of somebody trying to vote twice. If you have to think about this reasonably, there's no way people are going to affect most elections by having any individual try to vote twice. In most states, it's either a misdemeanor or a felony. It's huge. It's a huge risk to do it. And at best, if you're able to succeed at it, which is extremely hard, you'd get one extra vote. The real voter fraud occurs on a systemic level, perpetuated by political parties attempting to sway large numbers of votes, and the fraud comes from manipulating the election by reducing the amount of election equipment available, and creating huge lines so that people don't want to vote. And those have been proven, again, time and time again, to be tactics done in areas where certain demographics are in place, like, let's say, in inner cities, because they may vote, let's say, for example, it's known that those particular demographic characteristics may be very predominantly Democratic. And the most egregious examples in the last 12 years have been, and this is pretty statistically known, it's been Republican operatives in several states. They were Republicans, including Ohio and Florida, and the Secretary of State was involved in the actual state campaign, either for the candidate or for the state Republican group, and both states have been charged with not allocating equipment appropriately and messing with things involving the ballot and how the ballots are counted. So what's interesting is those states that have had those issues really try hard to go on the voter ID fraud component, because what that really does is it reduces voter turnout. The real goal of requiring all these excessive concerns about individual voter fraud is really a fake argument to reduce voter turnout at the polls, which is wrong, morally wrong, and I believe it's criminally wrong. And we should do investigations of any municipality, state, at any level that does anything involving trying to manipulate the electoral process. In Meridian Township, I can assure everybody that we maximize all resources and we allocate equipment based on historical voter turnout. So a location that has 1,800 votes is going to get a few more voting stations than some of our locations that have 900 voters.
And you see historically.
And we look at the data.
Okay.
We look at the data to make sure that everything is allocated fairly. My goal is to get up to 100% voter turnout.
Well, thank you again, Brett, and don't forget to watch HOMTV's live general election night coverage on Tuesday, November 8th. For up-to-the-minute results as the ballots are counted, will begin at 8 p.m. I'm Brandy Yates. Thanks for watching.